see here. That doesn't look right. Well, I'm here. I mentioned to people yesterday that I didn't have anything really to talk about on Sunday, so I decided to stream on Saturday and talk about the bombing of Iran. But I also said that if people wanted me to pop back on, that I could be encouraged to pop back on. And so here I am for some strange reason, because somebody said, "See you tomorrow, terminal mode." Hey, BB. It's good to see you. We left with your comment yesterday to AB about the Dems not being the problem. Dems didn't create MAGA, and I think you're right about that. That they're a product of their own. The Dems just don't do enough to push back against MAGA is the thing. And thanks for Turntable. I compliment. Digby has a little not their Lego techniques. And also his stuff on his head is also Lego techniques, the stuff that makes the gears that make his eyes move around. They're all from techniques. I probably shouldn't be saying that because it kind of devalues him. He's supposed to be a high-end quality robot. And instead he's just something that a master builder could put together. So he also can't talk when I'm talking. So I need to figure something out so I can make him talk while I'm talking. What I need to do is have run footage of me. Hey, Mike D, you're normally BB's the one that's driving and can't talk, but it's good to see you here and be safe on the road, of course. Oh, thank you, BB. You know, I grew up in a working class family that was very supportive of the Democrats. It's hard to kind of get away from those things that you're told as a kid, the propaganda that you're told as a kid. I still want to believe that they're the party of the working class, even though they often disappoint me. But I can't personally buy into accelerationism, especially seeing what's going on. So I'm very conflicted about it. Oh, and hey, Turtle Time, it's good to see you. Yeah, it was just an impromptu thing yesterday. So today I thought, even though I didn't really have much, I was going to talk about this book that I think is really good. And it's relevant today. Chris Hedges' War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning. I also have Hedges' book, Empire of Illusion. Hedges is an interesting character. He's one of the few people who he's always been on the left, and I always worry that he'll end up being like a Matt Taibbi or somebody like that, somebody that's just on the verge of, switching sides, because that's the world we live in. Is it always seems like the some of the best people on the left often have a weird change of heart sometimes. But fortunately, I think Chris Hedges is still on our side. So I was going to talk about that. I also have this book here it's my grandma's. It's called Conduct and Citizenship by Broom and Adams. And this was a textbook she had when she was a little girl. I'm guessing in the, probably got to be the 20s. I don't know. I have a hard time with dates. But this book is interesting. So I wanted to show some things in there. I got the turntable because I was going to play some music for us. I've got Tom Lehrer, That Was the Year That Was. And I was going to play, I don't know, the song that I wanted to play, I don't see on here. All of Tom Lehrer's pretty good. He's like the character, he's like the Mark Russell PBS piano player. He's the original guy that they make fun of on The Simpsons. But Tom Lehrer's pretty good. So, anywho, there was a lot. We had a little feud on the Discord too, so I wanted to come in and see if I could get the Discord feuders in here, and we could talk about the conflict. The book that I did read was Breakfast of Champions And they did make a movie of it starring Bruce Willis, Nick Nolte too. I think a lot of notable people. It might be hard to find. I don't remember the movie being very good, but that's probably just because I love the book so much. But yeah, if you want to see a Vonnegut movie, watch Mother Night. That one's a pretty good movie, and it's super relevant. Sorry for making noise with my glasses over here. Yeah, it was an interesting feud. TZ got a little upset with me because I made a joke about let's say male circumcision. I made a joke about it because as somebody who was circumcised and somebody who's not like that keen on being circumcised, because I feel like it is kind of genital mutilation, we had a big debate about why male genital mutilation isn't as big as a phenomenon as female genital mutilation, why people seem to care less about it. So that was it, Total Time. I made the case that female genital mutilation, this is some compelling conversation here, that female genital mutilation was worse because the mutilation is far worse, and so therefore we should be more concerned about it. And also generally it's probably better to always weigh in on the side of marginalized people, and still at this point I would classify women as a marginalized class, especially with what we're seeing happening here in America. That was a feud, and then we went immediately from the topic of male circumcision. And if you don't know, there's a group of people. Let's see if I can pull it up here. They're called intactivists, and they're men who are activists to prohibit. What is this? I don't even know. How come this is my video, but it's a commercial. Intactivists are male. I guess they don't have to be males, but they're just people who advocate against male circumcision, which I believe is a good cause. I think that there's something wrong with a society that mutilates babies and makes a medical case for it. So anyways, the conversation went from that to Palestine. We were all over the maps. I don't know if people were just bored and looking for mental exercise, or if people, really took strong stances on these things. But yeah, it was an interesting conversation. I just hate to see, I think mostly we're all on the same side in this little tiny community we have, and in whatever larger circles we all are on, we're all on the same side. So I hate to see people quibble about stuff that can divide us, because that's exactly what the people running the show want to see. They want us to quarrel among ourselves so we don't focus on them. I started watching, I'm really rambling right now. I started watching the second season of Andor, which I hadn't seen. And the way the show starts with this group of people stranded on a planet just fighting amongst themselves totally reminded me of how the left operates online. We've got just so many people who think that they should have a say in things, and there's just so much quarreling going on. BB says, on Harold and Kumar's Christmas movie, the secondary character converted from Judaism to Catholicism, and a suddenly scheduled. I think I remember that story, yeah, or that plot line. And there is a real effort. If you've been circumcised, there are people who try to work to bring their foreskin back by stretching and whatnot. Supposedly, it does reduce your sexual pleasure. And as far as women go, yeah, they're totally making women not have any sexual response at all. Whereas with men, it's just reducing, as far as I understand, it reduces our ability. So, yeah, that's also a good point that a lot of those people are in the cult of mutilating kids, and when you bring that up, they will always cite the medical reasons and whatnot. So let's talk about this little book here, because there were some images in it that were. I always think about how. Let's see if I can get the lighting right again, because I'm small here. Let's see. There it is. Conduct and citizenship. So I always think about how Trump kind of soured the discourse in America, and everything is anti-education now, and everything is woke. And this book, a lot of it from the 20s, it's a very conservative policy on building community and being a good citizen and whatnot. But by today's standards, it would probably be considered woke. And that's like shocking that you could take something that's so conservative and just basically what held our society together, and now there's just a pushback against it. So, like, here's a little chart here, a cool little chart about the numbers of immigrants in the United States. You can see in 1860 very little, but in 1910, a lot of immigrants coming to the United States. But the thing that they don't do in this book is talk about how bad of a thing it is. They don't talk about how horrible it is that we're having immigrants. So, let's see here. There's a thing here. This picture here of a postal worker. It says, let's see, I'll show you the postal worker. And the caption says, one of Uncle Sam's agents who brings the government to our door, which is not what they want anymore. They don't want any government anymore. They basically want as little regulation and public services for people as possible. And to talk about medical examinations, how going to the doctor is a good thing and getting yourself checked out. But let's see, here's a really fascinating photo in here of, let's see here, if I can find it. And it says, somebody's dollars saved these. These children are cared for by the proceeds of a welfare drive in a great city. So they're talking about how it's a good thing to help children and fund children through community services. So it was amazing. And like, we're never going to see this sort of thing again as long as these people are in charge, because these are the sorts of things that they opposed. Here's another one, an unpaved country road. And there's the paved country road. So you think about services like rural electrification, where they took power to these rural communities where it was not profitable for power companies to exist in. And basically a project of socialism to make the lives of people who are in these distant places more tolerable. The post office is another example of that. So the Irish immigrants. Yeah, I was thinking about that today, how we had the Chinese Exclusion Act around that same time, early, I think it was 1890s, somewhere in there. But before then, we were perfectly content to exploit them, bring them in, and make them build our railroads. And so they were prohibited from immigration for a period of time, and then now they were finally able to come back. But we're getting, rather than before, we used to just get the kind of the working class. Now a lot of the Chinese immigration is like the immigration from these other countries that the U.S. doesn't have a great relationship with, like from Iran or whatnot. Basically, the very wealthy people get to come over here, but the rest of the people don't have those advantages like they used to. So America's a strange place. It used to be a place where you would go and decide to toil away in a factory. That was more appealing than whatever you were existing in your other country. Now it's more, a lot of the immigration from these other countries is more of the elite class of people who always have, no matter what system they're in or what country they're in, their lives are fairly similar. They all, have opportunities that the working class people don't have. So, real ramble there, but anyways, my grandma's textbook. The other book I wanted to talk about was the completely unrelated material here, but these books were on the shelf next to each other, so I was like, let's talk about it. War is the Force That Gives Us Meaning. It's a really good book. I'd recommend it. The premise, Hedges' premise, is that American society is like vapid and empty, and we largely are exploited by the people who are running the country, and our jobs are meaningless, and that people are drawn to war, not like the general populace, but when you're in a war zone, there are consequences to everything. So it actually brings a seriousness to your life that we don't feel in America. And that's kind of why his other book is called Empire of Illusion, because everything in America is like the veneer of some sort of reality, but we exist in this fake culture that doesn't really give us any meaning. And so it's no wonder why people, do destructive things in our society, because they don't get, with the breakdown of religion and, traditional communities and whatnot, people no longer have the same sense of community that they used to. So something like war, you're out there, you're in a troop, you're in a little troop with your troop mates or whatever they're called. The consequences are serious, and it's like one of the most profound experiences you could feel as a human being. So let's see, Chinese billionaires. Yeah, I was, so I live in Phoenix, which is the metro, but there's a college town, Tempe, where the big state university is there. And it's the state university I went to. It was really jarring going there recently because there were so many rich kids from like the Middle East there. They had all sorts of really fancy cars, and it was jarring because when I was there, it was just basically this state school, and it was all people came to this school for partying from other states. I always thought it was weird that people would pay to go to the school because it wasn't a very good school, especially at the time. I mean, now I guess it's a fine research institution, but back then it was just more of a party school. So the idea that people are paying to come here to get a degree is kind of crazy to me. Like I was at this coffee shop, and a bunch of the kids came up, and they had like a super fancy car. I couldn't even identify it because it was so like luxurious, and it's weird that you could be in a situation, at least for me, my dad was a research assistant at ASU, and that's the only reason why I was able to go there was because of a tuition waiver. So it's remarkable to see people who can just buy into that. Turtle Time is asking about Pantha, and last time I talked to Pantha, I guess she's taking on extra work at the emergency room. She's an emergency room vet, and she's taking on extra time there because she says that it pays really well. She's also getting physical therapy for her shoulder, and she said that that's going well. I probably shouldn't be speaking for her, but I'm sharing because we're all friends here. So if you're worried about her like not doing well, she's doing fine. She also sent me a picture of, she lives in Indiana. I think it's okay for me to dox her there, but she sent me a picture of people in Indiana with No Kings sign in their front yard. So that was cool. The final book I have here is it's a follow-up to, not really a follow, but I have John Stuart Mill's Essays on Politics and Culture. John Stuart Mill famously wrote a book called On Liberty, which talks about the marketplace of ideas is where a lot of the notions of free speech come from today. But I have this book called On Bullshit by Harry G. Frankfurt. It's a little tiny book. So that's on my shelf too. I don't know. I was going to share, let's see, Seth had a little video out, Hammy, the Reductive. So I was going to watch his video, although I don't know why it's on his thing here. So let's watch Seth's video, just so I have something to share. I'm stealing Seth's material. I'm getting commercials. If anybody knows of a good ad blocker, I thought I had, what was it, something, uBlock Origin Lite. It appears not to be blocking stuff, so I hate advertising, but I also hate paying money to YouTube to not see advertising. Let's see. The Reductio. His new video. Oh, Reductio ad absurdum. Here's Seth's channel. Hey, AB, we were talking about you behind the scenes. I started off the stream by talking about you. So it's good to see you here. Where was talking about the larger conversation about making light of male circumcision. So, and I think that part of the problem is that anytime people are in a text-based forum and you can't see somebody's face and you can't hear them, the tone of their voice, we're more likely to become adversarial with each other. I think that Tosa Zergling, I think he has a good heart, but I think sometimes he's very adversarial, and he can be very contrarian, and sometimes I wonder whether it's just him. I think sometimes we can all do this where we just get in an argument and we just want to win the argument regardless of whether we started off by saying something true or not. Sometimes we just want to win the argument, especially people who tend to think of themselves on the spectrum, which I do. I think of myself that way, and that one of my flaws is once I get started with somebody and I'm convinced that I said the right thing, I will try to just do whatever it takes to win that argument. BB is saying that it's the best streaming payment, and I would cancel everything else to keep it. Wow, that's Pantha has also offered. She's a fan of it too, and she said you should use my YouTube Premium account. I'm like, I don't want YouTube to connect you to my garbage. That's the last thing I want to do, is to put a friend in danger of being connected to whatever I do. So, but I'll have to consider, even though I loathe Google at this point. So anyways, AB, I hope you walked out of that. He is so argumentative, TZ, and I think that that's a kind of a character trait of a lot of us, is that we can get caught up in that. He's probably lurking right now and hearing. So I should make another joke about. So my argument was that I can make a joke about male circumcision because I'm a male who was circumcised. So it's kind of like being a Jew and making a Jew joke. Whereas the further away I get from my own personal experience, the more problematic the humor becomes. I can say, it feels okay for me to say that white penises should be cut up and mangled because I'm a white guy, and there's some humor there in what penises do and how problematic penises are. But if I said black penises should be cut up, then that becomes problematic. And then the further away I get from my own existence, if I say women should have their clitoris cut up, then it's even more controversial. So that was part of my argument why I was making light, because I get called out all the time. People say that my central premise is empathy, but a lot of times I don't show empathy for certain people, and I think that there's a case to be made not to show empathy for people who are bad or nasty, like Elon Musk. My premise is that we should be empathetic, and we should be empathetic to his plight, but also it gets to a point where if you're empathetic and tolerant of somebody like that, you put yourself at risk. So in general, I do consider myself, even though it's cliche to say that, I'm a male feminist or whatever, but I have read like Andrea Dworkin and radical feminist philosophy, and I do agree with a lot of the premises of, the inequality between men and women makes consent issues problematic. So I do tend to side more with feminist argumentation than I do anything in the manosphere. So yeah, BB, I can make incel jokes. That's true. I wish I sometimes like I don't know. I'm not saying being an incel was now you got me in trouble here, because now I got to make incel jokes and I don't feel comfortable doing it. I wish I had the self-control. I guess it's involuntary celibate. So I don't know. I wish I had the self-control to be a voluntary celibate, but I'm obsessive compulsive and whatnot. That's hard. So AB says we should always leave room for nuance, and that's important. I think that anytime there's you make an issue black or white, that's always bad. Even though an issue can be black or white, you should always, as a matter of principle, you should always consider the exceptions to the rule or whatnot. And like it was pointed out to me that male circumcision in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, is reducing the rate of AIDS. So but I mean there could be a lot of factors to that. And again, with what we're talking about non-consensual circumcision. So BB, I can't tell you how I hate the ads, and that's why I don't turn monetization on the stream. And I was reluctant to do it on most of my content. I don't make any money doing the videos, but I feel bad making people sit through these ads, because like a lot of the ads I consider like completely unethical. There's no moral scrutiny. Like, at least with like ads on television, there was some degree of consumer protection because they're regulated by the FCC and whatnot. But on the internet, the advertising on the internet is so unethical and problematic. If you just they're just horrific when you think about them. Like the one that I constantly get is, I made $56,000 a month using Amazon through AI, and it's like nobody is making $56,000 a month using converting books to, through AI to audiobooks or whatever they're doing. Nobody's making that much money, and it's unethical that they're taking money from these advertisers, so these advertisers can take money from gullible rubes. Boy, am I ranting. So, anywho, Turtle Time, how is Charlie doing these days? I'd like to know. I'm having a wellness check on Charlie. Let's see. During the Canadian election, the Maple MAGA ads were off the charts with lies and no morals, no guidelines or ethics. On YouTube, are you saying? Because I imagine you can't get away with the same stuff on the CBC or any of the channels and wherever you are. I'm saddened to hear that it's Alberta. I was making a case for Manitoba, and I don't even know the geography of Canada enough to really differentiate between Alberta and Manitoba. So you threw me for a loop with that. AB says, from his perspective, if I enjoy and appreciate someone's work, watching their ads is an indirect way of conscious. But if I agree, sure. Oh, I could see that for sure. And there is an ethical dilemma about ad blocking and preventing the creator that you like from receiving revenue. Sirloin, I originally was going to talk about War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning by Chris Hedges. Considering that we're engaged in a war, and that's always problematic. But I wanted to talk about this book because I think Hedges is probably one of the best political thinkers that we have on the left right now. He's always super compelling. He went to divinity school, so he's kind of a pretty religious dude, but he focuses all his religious energies on social change, kind of like the liberation theology in South America and whatnot, rather than focusing on, prosperity gospel or whatnot. So he's a fascinating fellow because he was often at odds with other people on the left, like Christopher Hitchens, who was somebody who had an appeal to a lot of the secular left. So it's weird that as a secular person, I would be drawn to Chris Hedges, and kind of Chris Hedges makes the argument against Chris Hitchens in terms of Hedges says that Hitchens was just like a grifter, like all of the people on the right these days, that he had no moral compunctions, that he basically did whatever was profitable for him. And Hitchens won a lot of people over because of his criticism of the Clintons, like specifically, I can't remember any particular details, but the Clinton Foundation and whatnot. So he was a person on the left criticizing Bill Clinton, and that was appealing to a lot of the people on the left. So I was drawn to him for a while, but then after listening to Hedges talk, I came around to the divinity scholar over the atheist, which is unique for me. Chaw saying that Canadian internet was nuts this year so far. So yeah, what is the solution to that? What is, the internet's a real problem in terms of spreading misinformation and whatnot, and the fact that they're intentionally making it so, I guess somebody was talking about a law where they were trying to work it so AI technology couldn't be outlawed in states for 10 years or something. Imagine having to deal with 10 years of unrestricted AI slop and content. That would just be, it's already bad enough. Like I was never on Facebook out of principle, but it's bad enough that stuff has corrupted the brains of so many boomers. I just can't, it's going to, 10 years of that for the millennials, they're just going to be, their brains are just going to be fried. Steve can get so reactive. I sent him off once, but it didn't faze me too much because there's only so much you can extract out of one comment before it's ridiculous. Which Steve are we talking about? Or Steve Boots? Steve Boots banned me. Who's Steve Boots? I don't know Steve Boots. But it sounds like Steve Shives. Steve Shives is a good guy. He's always been on the right side of things, and he ended up, there was a campaign on the far right from, let's see, the campaign from Kiwi Farms to harass Steve Shives. So he just started blocking people, and he ended up blocking people who would be his friends and whatnot. I didn't know Steve Boots, a Canadian commenter. Not important. He's a left-wing guy, huh? Yeah, sometimes people can be very sensitive, though, on the left. So, no, I love the part of why I do this is because I love the idea of connecting the people together in terms of a community of like-minded ideas. Like it's not a project of vanity for me. Like I've always said, the goal here would be for me to eventually not be able to have to appear on camera with Digby over here, and just be able to go and interact with the chat. That was my goal. I want to be a chatter. Only I'll be the only chatter who's not a moderator. AB's criticizing my use of AI. Yeah, and I'm still in the process of thinking about how I wanted to talk about the AI issue, because it's been it's hard for me to keep making content when I get so much pushback. Even though I get the support from the core community of people, I'm a person who's a little too sensitive sometimes, and I feel like if a majority of people is complaining about something, that I always have that thought in my head that maybe they're right. Even though I've considered myself to be a well-read and educated person, I'm not this kind of person who has the degree of confidence that I can just always say, I know that I'm right. And because there's a small chance that I could be on the wrong side of things. My daughter is constantly pushing back against me on a lot of things, a lot of the jokes I make and a lot of the technology I use. She's of the younger generation that's really, really feels threatened by AI. So anyways, I kind of regretted not having. I couldn't get my stuff together, AB, in time to get you and TZ in here for a real conversation about those issues. Because I feel sometimes we get caught up on the internet, and like I said, if we had better means of communication, we probably wouldn't have so many quarrels. And I think sometimes people just say things behind a keyboard that maybe they don't necessarily mean, but they're trying to be edgy or whatnot. You think everybody's wrong but my daughter? Well, if my daughter had control, it's the same group of people. She's very emotional about it. She considers herself to be a singer, and one of her main concerns right now is that the technology is going to take away her ability to sing. And I'm like, nobody's ever going to go see an AI sing a song, but the reason people like art is because they connect to the artist. It doesn't matter what technology you use as an artist. People connect to the artist, and you're never going to see that with AI, at least right now. I mean, in the future you could have, I imagine, some kind of Android that people connect to, but for now people are going to go to a coffee shop and watch a real person sing rather than sit in front of a laptop and see somebody generate a song. So that's my 2 cents on that topic. Let's see. I was supposed to watch Seth's video. I didn't even mention to him that I watched his other video. I'm trying to promote Seth and whatnot. So let's see his video. Where is it? Videos. All right. It's a short one. Seth can have very long videos, but this is a quick one. I figured you had some connection to singing and voice work, Turtle Time voiceovers, but you shouldn't feel threatened either, because like I said, what the human connection is something that's always going to transcend the technology, even though the technology does threaten a lot of things, like the acting work and voiceover work in particular. But I still always feel like people are going to want to connect with a human being. So I don't think it's as bad as people think. I think we had the same issues with CGI. When CGI came out, people were complaining that, all of these things, it was going to take over all of these things, and it wasn't as good as practical effects, which is true. But if anything, CGI has made practical effects more valuable, and people appreciate them more. And also, CGI doesn't ever feel as good as, no matter how realistic it looks, it always has this kind of emptiness to it. And I think people want to connect. People are never going to want to connect to a synthetic, whatever. So it's not as much of a threat as people insist it is. Sirloin says, did I hear about Mark Zuckerberg and the others being promoted to what is this? I did not. I knew I heard the story about I don't know if it was Mark Zuckerberg trying to recruit people from OpenAI or vice versa. You'll have to let me know more if there's a story, if there's a video or something. I can pull it up. I'm delaying on pulling up Seth's video here. I think, like I said, I think if anything, it's going to make people appreciate real things even more. There's a video, there's a movie with Pedro Pascal. Let's see. I'm really losing my thread here, as normal for me. Pedro Pascal. This movie, let's see. Last time I got demonetized by going to IMDb, and it played a clip from a movie, and the people that made the movie claimed my live stream, so that was pretty funny. Pedro Pascal was in this movie. Let's see, where is it? There's so much here. And I thought this movie wouldn't say that it was like a great movie, but it was a cool movie because it was dark. But it had a lot of I'm not going to play this because I don't want them to claim my thing. So it's Prospect. But this movie had, rather than rely on CGI effects, everything was practical effects. And it had a really cool look to it that I don't think you'd be able to get with AI or CGI. I mean, eventually AI and CGI, they're just going to put all these in the data cluster, and they're going to make it so they can generate stuff that looks like it. But, still, like I said, there's always some more tangible connection to this. Oh, Chaw, I dislike the AI thumbnails. Like, I dislike thumbnails in general, because they're always like the person with the face doing whatever. Like, I'm like so frustrated with most of the things that people do online. The fact that people complain about bad AI slop, but there's so much worse. There's also people just generally make slop. The content on YouTube and social media is bad in general. So the fact that they're complaining about computers making it is frustrating. But the thumbnails and the artificiality of interacting with people by talking in the same cadence always gets on my nerves. All right, let's check this out.
I genuinely cannot believe I'm saying this, and that it is not a top of the page headline story across.
So hold on, I gotta pull it up over here. All right, hopefully. Why can't I hear it? Where's my audio? All right.
believe I'm saying this and that it is not a top of the page headline story across the country, but the US Army just swore in 4 tech executives as lieutenant colonels. The CTO of Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, the CTO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg's company, and OpenAI's chief product officer and former chief research officer, the company belonging to Sam Altman. These 4 men are all now 1 rank away from a general, second in command for field grade officers. There are 16 ranks lower than a lieutenant colonel, and these 4 untrained civilians just leapfrogged over soldiers who have dedicated their entire career and lives to the US military. Apparently, these men are going to work on targeted projects to help guide rapid and scalable tech solutions to complex problems. A sentence that means absolutely nothing, because clearly this is just a way of giving these companies access to top secret information without them having to go through any pesky background checks. And if that doesn't scare you, it really should. Because we already know that Palantir is building a massive centralized database, using much of the information they acquired from Doge, Elon Musk's foray into the American government. These billionaire tech bros are compiling lists of our most sensitive information, our tax records, medical data, bank accounts, social security information, immigration status. This administration is allowing them to build the infrastructure for techno-feudalism, authoritarianism in the form of data and surveillance. It is a horrifying and blatant conflict of interest that harms the safety and security of all Americans. There should not be this much overlap between private tech and the US government, certainly not between private tech and the US military. I do not know how asleep at the wheel Congress can possibly be, but they should be shutting this down immediately, and every single one of us should be demanding that they do it. The people who are using the government against you are now taking over military authority. The corruption is calculated and staggering, and I can only hope our veterans and active duty military are paying incredibly close attention. And now that you know, you should be talking about it.
All right. Thanks for sharing that, Sirloin. I did not know that, but I did know that this happens, that you can basically, I didn't know that you could do it if somebody's just a complete civilian, but I knew a guy who was let me fix my stream here. Where am I? Knew a guy who was a PhD in botany. He's a botany professor. Somehow he was also like a rear admiral in the Navy. Like he was like one of the people in the room who pushes the little boats around with a stick or whatever. But not like anybody who rose to that position through traditional means. I don't know if like you could, maybe he was in the Navy when he was younger in college or something, but I know that this is a thing. My audio matches the character's lips moving on my AI videos. Even Mr. Newberger doesn't do that a majority of the time. The thing is that, like, I'm sure that they're using AI and computer technology to do like the lip syncing for like Pixar movies at this point. Most of the animation is going to be done. It's an automated process. And the fact that people are complaining about the fact that they're not hand drawing or keyframing in the lip motions on animation is part of the issue. Like also like on your phone, everything like on your phone these days is AI. All the things that sort your pictures, that's AI. You know, it recognizes faces. If you complain about these things, you should be complaining about all that stuff too. What about a major who becomes a major? A major who becomes a major, huh? Let's see. Yes, Digby thumbnails. What was? Did somebody say Palantir? Like this is like one of the scariest things that I think we talked about Palmer Luckey last week. I just like the existence of people like that in this world is partly why sometimes I get very despondent, thinking that there's not more pushback against people who are just horrific war profiteers and people who profit off the misery of other people. So back to Seth's video. I didn't play Seth's video, and now let's play Seth's video. Let's see if I can. Do I have a way of turning my screen off? Digby is there. Maybe I'll turn off Digby. All right, and the chat's here. I'm going to turn off everything, but I'll get back to it. Video capture. Okay, so here is Seth's video. Since I don't have content, I'm stealing Seth's. No, everybody should support Seth. Here's the video.
But they talk about casings, the chicken casings, the eggs. You talk to Nancy, you talk to Chuck, everything is egg. But they don't tell you, I brought down the eggs, and now we can all enjoy an egg again. Very cheap now, very low. Did they even say thank you? I didn't hear it. But those are the two most beautiful words in the English language, folks. The next two are probably Shark Week.
Who can listen to this gibberish? It's not even coherent.
They'll probably say it something like, Trump, sarcophagus himself.
How could he say that?
Would you like me to arrange an ice transport for the gentlemen, sirs?
You gotta fucking debank him.
Yeah, so, I want to, but at the same time as these, not just, what does happen is I'll, you know,
It's. I don't know what to say.
So this was actually a concept.
Everything is egg.
This concept was mentioned to me by my good friend Justin of the If Only channel. He said, you should make a video in which Elon Musk and Peter Thiel just have a conversation where they just and stammer at each other. And I was like, that's a great idea. And I like a lot of the ideas that we talk about, I just was working on something else at the time. I didn't make it. So Seth here independently made the video where they just stammer and talk to each other without being a part of that conversation. I'm impressed with that. It's kind of like Watson and Darwin both coming to the theory of evolution at the same time, or natural selection, or whatever it was. Let's see. Again, everybody should support Hammy. He's in our circle of friends. Yeah. Let's see. Anything else? I think I went through all my books. Don't know if I have anything else. It was largely, the reason I'm here is because yesterday I said, oh my God, the light from the thing there, it's back. I moved some stuff around in my room, but I've got this beam of light now. It's just a single solitary one instead of the mustache I had, but it's still irritating. Yesterday I said that I streamed because I didn't have any material today, but if people pressure me, I'd come on. And Liam, who is not here, unless he's hiding, Liam said, I'll see you tomorrow, Terminal Mode. So I was like, oh, I gotta show up. Yeah, Turtle Time, I was thinking that I haven't updated my YouTube page, but like there's a section here. Where is it? If you go to somebody's YouTube page where you put people's friends in. Let's see. I think it's down on the bottom, maybe. Well, friends of Terminal Mode. So I should put anybody who wants to be in here. I'll put you in here. We should all be more. Media Demons is a long lost project, but we should all put and do some kind of like web circle or whatever it was back in the day. Here, let's Alex. Alex has the Reductio. See, there's the Reductio and Justin. So we should do more of this type of things. It's like it's a soul patch. Let's see if I can put it right there on my soul patch is illuminated. Wow, I didn't know that you were fed I feel bad for you, Turtle Time, that you were fed my video, because Justin's always been the more charismatic person. I keep trying to pressure him to come back, but I feel bad. He's got a baby, and even though I want to request him, just put the baby in a drawer for an hour and come and stream with me. I think it's better if he's a good dad. So this light is bothering me. So yeah. It's a weird algorithm that we got going on here. I'm mostly, if you follow my stuff, I'm mostly in the circle of R.M. Brown people. Turtle Time, are you familiar with R.M. Brown? It'd be fascinating to me that you wouldn't be in the R.M. Brown, wouldn't have ever been fed Aaron Brown stuff, because Aaron Brown's like an offshoot of Majority Report, which I'm pretty sure you follow. Watched another day of those guys talking about a future where AI provides everything mankind needs, but it was still framed in the context of creating revenue. Yeah, that's the awful thing, is that it could be such a tremendous boon. Like, if you imagine all of the tasks that you have to do as a human being that are just arduous, but imagine if somebody else did them for you, freed up your time, and didn't force you to do something else that was even worse that the machine couldn't do. So anyways, yeah, Aaron Brown, I have this video. Let's see my video here. This video is like my most I get so many comments on this video, and it never stops. And I'm like, how do you make another video like this where it just like people seem to connect to it and it's funny and the comments are always great? Let's see. It's this video here. Where is it? Can't find it. Man, it's far back. It's this video here. So for people who know Aaron Brown, you'll get it. If you don't know Aaron Brown, you're not going to get any of these references at all. So
R.M. Brown is the type that goes to a Puff Daddy party, also known as the infamous freak-offs, or REM. You got away with beating a kid at Walmart, playing a crystal flute, calling bluff, and then keeping that little smugs, and now delivering to me the joy of a turkey panini, one of the most revolutionary sandwiches since 1776. I wonder if you're in one of those spicy little tapes, RM, and to the Republicans in Congress, grow a pair of balls and release the January 6th and the Diddy tapes. Terminal mode failed to qualify for the infamous freak-offs.
So I don't know why I made this video. Valentina, is her name Valentina Lopez? I think her name is Valentina. I find her to be very funny. She's the extreme MAGA person, but everything she does is just so performative and hilarious. I know she's dangerous, and I know people who support her are dangerous, but I can't help but find her very funny. And so I made this video. The comments in it
R.M. Brown is the type that goes to a Puff Daddy party.
So this guy says, RM twisting and twitching at them Diddy parties. Was wondering where I watched this. Someone said that's on YouTube. It's all just RM Brown soundboards, which I love getting, like the different ones. So I just want to make another video like this just so I can get all the RM sound clips in it. Is that Bilbo? Diddy got your ass. I mean, everything is an RM Brown sound drop. But my favorite, the one that I really like getting now is multiple people saying Hassan Parker in the comments. It's just so out of context, but funny. So yeah, she's like, so I don't know. She's like probably my favorite figure on the right, like, but she's so offensive too. So I like feel kind of icky for even like drawing attention to her, like, cause she's the person that very homophobic, and she's also somebody who clearly comes from money because she managed to come to the States. It's not like she's a self-made person. So she's like from a wealthy family from Colombia, I believe. And, just the fact that she's aligned with the far right is crazy. Let's look at some of her other stuff here. Valentina Gomez, I think is her name. Valentina. I mean, I'm sorry for sharing it because it is very offensive, but there's something. Oh, she's banned, so we're not gonna be able to find her here.
Kathy, because they're corrupt. They fear me because I don't have any special interest. All of those guys that are in Jefferson City, all over Missouri, they're controlled. They have already sold themselves, and I'm never going to do that because I have to do the right thing for Missouri, the right thing for the United States. And these DEI mayors that we have in Blue City.
She's so consumed with the terminology of the DEI mayor. She doesn't realize that kind of stuff, if she becomes a mayor, the first chance they get to use it against her, they're going to use it against her. It's crazy. All right. Let's see. Anything else? Does anybody have any other topics of discussion? Because
I don't have anything funny to say for this.
Whoops. Because I don't really have much. That's the thing about her is she's so. If somebody tried to act like this, it wouldn't be funny. But what makes it funny is the sincerity and the. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if it's sincere because she's clearly acting, but the fact that this person thinks that this is her path forward is very humorous for me. Like there's the book burning thing that she did. This video here. Oh my gosh.
And Doug.
Is there a way for me not to?
Missouri Public Library. When I'm in office, they will burn.
Her name may be unfamiliar to you, but this video is rippling across social media. This week, Valentina Gomez set books containing LGBTQ content on fire. She claims they're grooming kids. The St. Louis City resident is running for Secretary of State in Missouri.
Tonight, First Alert 4.
She claims...
I was wanted to make the comment that she's burning those 2 books, and those are like the only 2 books that were in the Missouri Public Library. It's probably a mean joke to say, and I'm a bad person for making it. So, Oh, I played Seth's video, but I never played my Tom Lehrer record. I got 2 Tom Lehrer records. I'd recommend Tom Lehrer. Let's see. Tom Lehrer. Famously, the other Tom Lehrer fan is Harry Potter himself. Daniel Radcliffe? He does Tom Lehrer. So I'll play, rather than have you listen to Tom Lehrer, I'll play.
Give a big shout if you know who Tom Lehrer is. Yes. Know Tom Lehrer.
Yes, so over there, yes, they couldn't be more excited.
Okay, so Tom Lehrer, in my opinion, is the cleverest and funniest man of the 20th century, and he's kind of my hero. And he wrote a song called The Elements, because he was a scientist, and it's the name of every element in the periodic table. And that's my party piece. It's quite long, so do stop me if you just get bored.
Okay.
But I will. This kept me up last night. I was so nervous about doing this.
Oh, do I feel bad now?
No.
Okay, so.
There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and uranium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, and germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and anthium, and osmium, and acetine, and radium, and golden protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium. There's yttrium, and terbium, actinium, rubidium, and boron, gadolinium, and niobium, iridium, and strontium, and silicon, silver, and barium, bismuth, bromine, lithium, beryllium, and barium. And let's start the next verse. There's holmium, and helium. There's holmium and helium and hafnium and erbium, phosphorus and francine and fluorine and terbium, and manganese and mercury and molybdenum, magnesium, dysprosium and scandium and cerium and cesium. There's lead, praseodymium, platinum, plutonium, palladium, promethium, potassium, polonium, and tantalum, technetium, titanium, tellurium, and cadmium, and calcium, chromium, and curium. There's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium, and also mendelevium, arsenium, nobelium, and argon, radon, neon, and argon. Hold on, quiet. There's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium, and also mendelevium, einsteinium, nobelium, and argon, radon, neon, krypton, xenon, zinc, and rhodium, and chlorine, carbon, cobalt, copper, tungsten, tin, and sodium. Now,
so I'm hoping that I could get copyright claim from the BBC one, but Tom Lehrer gave his work to the public domain. So all of this stuff, all of his wonderful songs. He was also famously sampled for, where is it? Right here. Let's see if I can do it. The Old Dope Peddler was sampled by 2 Chainz, so with no royalty costs either. He let him just sample the song free of charge because Tom Lehrer's he's a pro. The other records I wanted to share real quick. I'm going to play Turtle Time's video, but I think I have to do it after I share these other records. So I wanted to share my collection of Bill Cosby vinyl. I don't have. There's one record called. I think it's called Yes, I Did It. And it's the one that has this bit about putting a date rape drug in. He makes light of putting the date rape drug into people's drinks. I don't have that one handy, but I have Bill Cosby as a funny fellow, right? And all of these I bought at Goodwill for, like, you can see, 49 cents. And the thing is, that was probably like pre the discount that I normally get. So it was probably like a 30-cent record. So Bill Cosby, Why Is There Air? Bill Cosby, what does this one say? 200 miles an hour. Bill Cosby, Revenge. That's classic. I've never even listened to these. So the only thing I know about Bill Cosby's routine is that Carlos Mencia stole some of it. Good thing Carlos Mencia didn't steal some other traits of Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby's Wonderfulness. So there's that. Bill Cosby, I started out as a child. And finally, I have Bill Cosby, To Russell My Brother, Whom I Slept With. My favorite, I'm going to tell you, my favorite vinyl comedy is Steve Martin. Comedy Isn't Pretty, and the other one, the live one where he does. Steve Martin's my favorite comedian, by the way. I love Steve Martin, and his records are really funny. His humor's right up my alley. Bill Cosby on the other hand, I don't know. All right, so whoa, I got something. I think those records were dusty, and the dust went into my throat. So now my voice is no longer. My voice is even worse than it normally is. So let's watch this video, and then I think I'm gonna leave. The records in my room, I got probably 3,000 or 4,000 records in here, and I just recently tried to clean and dust, and so I figured you would. Turtle Time, he's just so funny, and I kind of stopped following him after some of the more popular movies, but Planes, Trains, and Automobiles always cracks me up. But one of his best movies is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. His role in that is just so good. The McKenzie brothers from SCTV had a great record. So that was they have the dog Strange Brew, right? They did the movie Strange Brew when the dog drank the beer and was. I don't remember the movie at all, but I remember that movie. You have an image of E.T. on vinyl. Oh, it's. I don't know. I don't think I have an E.T. record in my collection. So, The Jerk, classic. The Jerk is so good. Both those Carl Reiner movies, The Jerk and The Man with Two Brains. I love The Man with Two Brains too. But I think Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is better than both those movies, even though those movies are very quirky in the kind of period time that they were made in, whereas Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is more of a traditional movie. A lot of the stuff from Man with Two Brains just seems like the skits that he would do, and they just integrated them in the movies. I love that. That's so awesome, TT. That's one of I always sing the Thermos song to my partner. I'm always picking out a thermos for you, a very special thermos for you. What is it? I can't remember. I always get it wrong. The very best thermos you can buy with stripes and a cup built it, and a rectal thermometer too. So I always quote that. So it's classic, and I love that scene where he just runs out and he puts the dog over his his butt and his genitals. That's such a classic scene. The dog was Hoser. Yes. Hoser was the dog's name. I remember that. That was a long time ago. Man, I'm feeling old. Super old, because that was I feel like that was when I was in 7th grade when that came out. Really dating myself. So, all right, on to Turtle Time's video. And again, anybody, when I get around to updating my YouTube page, I need to put anybody who has a YouTube page that you're promoting, I'll put you in my friend circle here, and we can kick Justin out since he's not showing up anymore. I'll just move him off the screen, and I'll put anybody who shows up regularly here. And And if there's anything I can do to help anybody do, if you're interested in doing, I don't know, I would discourage everybody from trying to do stuff on YouTube because it's basically just an exploitative system that's trying to take advantage of you and make you make free content for it. But anybody who's inclined, whatever I can do to help, hit me up. I don't, as far as quotes from Strange Brew, I don't know any, so I'm impressed. But The Jerk, I pretty much know. I always do the scene where he talks about how we went over to your parents' house and that felt like we programmed the VCR or whatever. He just has this thing about how he's rambling on about things. I always do this too, and it always irritates my partner as well. So, but maybe I'll have to rewatch Strange Brew so I can catch up on my Canadian humor. I always, what would be cool is we could talk about this movie here. It's been a while since I've seen it. I was telling Justin about this. He didn't believe me. I was like, there's a movie about Canada, and it's a parody, obviously, of kind of like the rush to go to war. But let's see where it's directed by Michael Moore, and it's got some of the same people. It's got who is it? John Candy. So there he is in it. So, yep, Monty Python 2. I think I still quote. There's one of the DVDs or one of the Monty Python videos opens with Steve Martin talking about how funny this group is, or how funny this comedy person is, or I can't remember how he does it, but he introduces Monty Python and he talks about how hilarious they were, but he's actually just talking about himself. Somebody will have to tell me if you remember this particular one. But I think I gravitated to Steve Martin. I was into Monty Python too, but Steve Martin, just like, he's a philosophy dork too, so he gets all the things right for me. And also I got to go up to Turtle Time's video here. Let's see here.
Not you, I won't do what you tell me! Not you, I won't do...
All right, I got to put it over here. Let's see. Oh, wrong thing. Is this an AI video?
Not you, I won't do what you tell me! Not you, I won't do what you tell me! Not you, I won't do what you tell me! Not you, I won't do what you tell me!
So, I wonder what the context is of these ducks. What's the deal there? I'm glad he pointed out that was he pointed out that it was killing in the name of. So, I think maybe we leave it with the ducks. Rick Moranis. Yeah, Rick Moranis is really funny. Also, when the movie came out, it was panned, but also love the Three Amigos. I'm pretty sure it was Rick Moranis and Steve Martin, Chevy Chase. I always quote that movie too. So, anywho, let's leave on that happy, uplifting note of the comedy stylings of Rick Moranis and Steve Martin. And wait a minute, it wasn't Rick Moranis. It was Martin Short. I got that wrong. Sorry. So nobody corrected me on it. Was Rick Moranis in that one though? I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. It was Martin Short. Now I feel foolish for confusing Rick Moranis with Martin Short. How can I make such a mistake? All right, I am going to head out here, even without AB. AB's supposed to sing me off. I'm supposed to sing a little tune, and I'm supposed to, kind of go off and lights dim or whatever. But I'm going to get out of here. Just I'm going to start learning how to close this thing out. Wait a minute. I'm looking at the Discord. Okay, no. There was no... The conversation just ended with AB and TZ walking away. I couldn't get online in time to bring them on and try to talk about the issues. So, yes. Thank you, AB. Oh, what's this? I started an insane hip hop site. Why are you sharing stuff if you're wanting me to go off? If I'm supposed to get off, I think of how I want to end the show is well, I don't even know what's on the screen right now, so this is pretty terrible. I'm like the worst live streamer ever. I probably should stop doing this. The Christmas Spectacular Star Wars Christmas Spectacular. This is how. What was the Christmas special Star Wars? I got this order all wrong. What was her name? Maud. I don't remember what her name was. I'm not going to be able to find it, am I? What's the deal here? Star Wars Christmas special. Who was the actress who played Maud? Why, you can't even find this? What the hell? I do like the video that Chewbacca's dad watches. I think it was Chewbacca's dad. Somebody, AB, you sent that video. I'm proving how when left to my own devices, I can't. Oh, it's not called the Star Wars Christmas special, is it? It's the Star Wars Holiday special. B. Arthur. So this scene, this is how I would like to go off. I'm going to ask that AB learn this song and that he sings this song. Is this going to get me demonetized? I'm not gonna make any money, but I'm also going to have the
Life's better when your stuff is protected under our roof.
No. I think everybody probably already left, and I'm here talking to myself because I said I was closing out the show, but this is the real way of closing it out. This is what I want.
It seems just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly.
Yep. That's right, friends. So, anyways, I'm gonna check out AB's video before I do this. Let's see. It's on the wrong screen. I advise people against getting 5 monitors. It's not a very efficient way of juggling things.
Can you understand it? I be the man here, but it's Ari really who got the plan here.
Beautiful day outside here in Manhattan. Allergy season. My eyes are itchy. My throat is itchy. I'm out here to scratch that itch. Are you hopping on this next? Are you? You want to sing? Okay. Whoa, it's kind of chaotic in here. All right, we got to make the song. We got to make something.
What's the word of the week for you?
Dude, I don't know. Fountain? I don't know. Fountain?
Do fountain.
What kind of style do you sing?
Anything, honestly.
We'll do something melodic, something nice and with a melody for you.
Whatever you're feeling.
You're gonna make it up on the spot though?
Yeah.
All right, that's gas.
Even when it's hard, we gotta find the strength through the fountain as we find the strength from above. It's hard to find the source,
This does not seem like it was produced in real time. I mean, his playing sort of seems, but I have a hard time believing that she's just improvising off his chord progression. But I'm a cynic. I wanted to see the guy in the red hat. Does the guy in the red hat drop some Trump lines?
Take a couple mills with ya, I see the branding. I see we going there. I see the people standing, but can you understand it? I be the man here, but it's Ari really who got the plan here.
Where we at? We at? Where we at? We at? Where we at? We at? Where we at? We at?
This is a fun channel, but I still wonder whether it's all impromptu. AB. 3 monitors is actually what I'm down to. I had 4 or 5, but I've reduced to 3. Like a 1. I do like having a big 40-inch monitor at a distance. That way you can put yourself however close you want to it. But having 2 on the side is actually pretty good. A 3 is optimal. I think I was exaggerating when I said I'm operating 5 monitors. But anyways, I think we're going to end on the insane hip-hop cipher. Would you guys like me to do this? I could take my gear out in public with Digby, and I can, you know, I can show what it really looks like when you don't have people who have prep material to be there. It would probably be pretty bad, but maybe pretty funny too. I like his setup though. You want to buy into the illusion. David, oh yeah, for any time, like for video work, having multiple monitors is a godsend. Yeah, for sure. All right. You're willing to buy an illusion even if it's a real. I think we need that. I think we all need. It's hard for people who don't have, you know, a religion or a culture that you can buy into and seek comfort for that. So we kind of have to look for some sort of illusion of culture and community, and that's what Digby is here. He's an illusion of a friend. So me, on the other hand, I'm like a real friend that you guys can count on. Not really, but if you asked, I would do whatever for anybody that hangs out here. All right, really rambling. I'm sorry, and I'm also sorry for being so sorry all the time. So I love all you guys, and like I said, anybody who wants any kind of support or whatever in doing your little projects, let me know. I'll do whatever I can. So peace out. If I can figure out how to get out of here. I'm going to type in the chat first. Thank you for AB. You finally wrapped me up. I always feel like even if I say stuff that it doesn't feel complete unless there's a final comment in here. I don't know why. It just feels like I have to type. Maybe it's just because I'm a weirdo who feels like they have to get the last word. Even though I don't want the last word, I feel wrong. And I'm going to steal what AB says. Thanks, everyone, and take care. There you go. Adios.